Today's banking is about so much more than numbers. It's about people. It's about community. It's about the next generation. Banking is personal. That's what we believe. And that's why we'll always put you first. Northwest Bank. Commitment you can bank on.
Hello everyone, my name is Kara Trable. I am the bank president at Northwest Bank located here in Ankeny. I'm honored to moderate this panel today discussing social media with three prominent businesses in the Ankeny community. So let's get started. I'm getting to know our panelists. I'm sure many of you know them already. We'll take a few moments to have them introduce themselves, their business, and then what their favorite social media platform is and why.
Thank you for having us today. My name is Kim Heinrichs. I'm a marketing manager for Northwest Bank. I've been in marketing and at the bank for 16 years now. Just a little bit about Northwest. We are a $2.5 billion community bank. We have 18 locations throughout Iowa and Nebraska, 2 here in Ankeny, Des Moines and Ames for our surrounding communities. We are super active on social media. We have a presence on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And I would just say from a business standpoint, Facebook is probably the bank's favorite. We see a lot of success through engagement on there, and definitely kind of is our go-to and reigns to the top for us.
Yeah, very good. It's nice to meet you. I'm Lindsay Foss, and I own a home decor and women's clothing boutique here in Ankeny called Real Deals. And we have a little bit of an interesting niche in that we have the opportunity with retail to be able to sell live. And so for that reason, Facebook has been, kind of a tried and true for us to be able to have a platform to be able to have live sales. But then Instagram is really catching up, quickly on the ability to sell products live too. So I would say that Facebook is primarily where we see the most traction from our customers and where they're most used to seeing kind of that live sale format. So for that reason, I'm Team Facebook too.
Awesome, love it. Well, I'm Taylor Voidle with Ankeny Real Estate Group. I'm our marketing manager. I've been actually a realtor for 7 years and done, as many other realtors probably know, done the marketing hat for a really long time, and it's something I kind of just fell into when I met Michael Hyder and Colin Pansy, our team leads. But yeah, I think that to echo what they said, Facebook does have a ton of engagement. My personal favorite social media is Instagram. I really love it a lot, and I like to post a lot of our agents' things on there and just do a lot of marketing that way too. So.
Awesome. Thank you, and thank you all for being here. So to start off, I think social media can be very overwhelming and nerve-wracking for many people that are not used to it. So when getting started, what were some of the misconceptions that you had about getting started, and how were you able to shift into creating a positive experience and a business presence on social media? Whoever can start.
Yeah, I can start. I think a common misconception, and I feel like I talk about this a lot, is followers equals success. And I don't think that's necessarily the black and white of it. I think that in order to create a positive experience on any platform and is being authentic and building a community rather than just building numbers. So I think that's something that we strive a lot to, is to engage a lot with our followers and go back and forth with them, message, and really look for their feedback too, rather than just trying to get 1,000 followers a day. So yeah.
Absolutely. I wanted to piggyback off of that a little bit too, that authenticity piece, because I think one of the big misconceptions that maybe I had, and I hear from other business owners, is that there's a business page and there's your personal page, and it's very black and white. And we really take the approach of, this is my true self in the business and personally, and so we just really try to lead authentically, and it's not about selling products per se, but rather just an opportunity to connect with our customers, meet them where they're at, and have more of a playful tone. And so I think kind of breaking down that thought of that you need to just represent your page in a certain way when you can really just have a lot more fun with it. And I think our followers in turn engage with that more.
Yeah, I really like what you said. Followers doesn't necessarily equal success. And to stem off that, I think a common misconception is that there's so many social media channels out there that you have to be on every single one of them. Not true. I think finding the ones that work for your business, ours are very different, I'm sure, but finding the first couple that work really well and mastering them, and then slowly opening up to other social media channels. And I think just understanding who your audience is and who's really active on those social media channels, and how your content is going to resonate with them when you are up and running and off and going.
Yeah. Awesome. So we have a wide range of businesses here between banking, retail, and real estate. So I think this is an interesting question. So when creating your presence online for your business, what effect has your business social media had on your consumer engagement? And if you could just kind of go into how you're measuring consumer engagement and kind of tagging that as success.
It's hugely impactful. It's one of our best means of advertising. It does a lot in terms of helping us, reach reach a larger audience, outside of our customer base and outside of our brick and mortar. I think customer service for us is kind of a dying term. We say customer experience now. So the whole experience of social media is a connection between, your business and the community or your followers or your customers. And then I think just a huge leap in brand visibility. I mean, this is the visual aspect of your brand. This is how you're seen, outside of your, inside your walls or your people. This is your opportunity to kind of shine to your communities and their friends and their followers outside of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with everything that you said too. And I think it is just a way to bring that experience forward in the online space. I think that we, again, try to lead in a very authentic way. And in doing so, we're able to call our customers or our consumers by name and, really just be relatable, show that it's a real person on the other end of the Facebook message or whatever that looks like. So I think that we've been able to really establish relationships with customers who maybe even have not ever stepped foot in the door, but they feel as if they know us, that they have. And so I think that kind of bringing it all back to that authenticity piece, and in ways to measure that, we do look at quantitative things in our Facebook and Instagram toolbox that are available to us in terms of overall reach and if we do any paid advertising. But I think just moreover, we look at the measurement of, what was the visibility of a post, and then how did that, we are in an industry where we can see a direct impact of somebody saw this top and now on Facebook, and now they're coming in to make a purchase. And so we do just really look at that too, just kind of a guttural reaction of that was successful because it ultimately moved the product. So
perfect. Lindsay, you kind of expanded on it, but going back to measuring the overall feedback, I think one reason that people are scared of social media is you get pretty instant feedback through the comment section specifically. And so when you're looking at that feedback, do comments play a lot into how you adjust on social media? Do you look more at analytics? Just kind of how do you figure out how to respond to that feedback and move forward?
Yeah, I can start with that one too. So we do read every comment and really take things to heart. I mean, that's our customer that we're looking to serve. And we can't be all things to all people and we can't be on all platforms either. So we have really kind of narrowed it down, but we do try to be very mindful of the feedback that we're receiving from customers and then use that to ultimately drive our buying and merchandising decisions too, because that's in the end who we're looking to serve. So we do look at those very closely. We also do look at metrics in terms of, I agree that it's more than just a follower account. while it's important to have overall reach, we're just really looking at what's the quality as opposed to quantity, and how much are we seeing for interaction on individual posts as opposed to just maybe reach. And so then that's really where we feel like those are our people, because they've taken the we all consume social media in different ways. Some are more active and commenters, some are more passive in just kind of scrolling through. And I think that it's important to have content that reaches both of those subsets, but also when we just really take a look at if somebody has taken the time to like or love our post, and especially to leave a comment, then we think that customer has taken the next step. So we do really take that to heart for our small business.
Yeah, I would agree with what Lindsay said about taking a look at the metrics. We definitely do that. I think every business probably accomplishes that, or they should, on social media. But I also think another thing, a lot of our agents, we tell them to get out in the community, go to events, chamber events, things like that. And I think we've gotten a lot of feedback just from face to face too, and I really love to hear that, because that means I'm doing my job right, and I'm helping put our faces out there and stuff. And I think it's great too, because like Lindsay mentioned, I think creating a personality that when you see Lindsay in person, you've seen her on social media, so now you feel like you kind of know her, and you go up and talk to her, and she seems welcoming and all those things. I think that's another thing, that how we measure consumer engagement is if people feel comfortable talking with us, maybe if they've never even met us in person. So yeah.
And I don't know if you guys would agree, but I think in terms of comments, there's often more good than negative, right? Yeah. So doesn't need to be a scary thing. We welcome comments. It's a great way, we want the whole basis of it is to get people to engage with us, right? So welcoming those comments, it's a great way not to only engage with our followers, but with each other, with our business partners. I think, the whole analytics and metrics, it's really the foundation of why we do this. It's how we learn and grow and see what's working well, or what could we tailor differently next time to, change it up or try something new. It's a great way to see who's mentioning you or who's tagging you, or, and then mentioning them back. That's organic growth in terms of growing your presence on social media.
And such a great way too to show support of one another in the community, to be able to follow one another and share posts, or even to just engage and comment. It's one of those things that it's free, it takes virtually no time, and it just adds such a sense of camaraderie. And I feel like our consumers recognize that too. They will recognize that Northwest Bank interacted with XYZ company, and then it is so nice to see that too, of different organizations supporting one another. And so I think that has ripple effects.
And I think too, in recent years, exiting COVID and stuff, everyone does hone in on that small business, real person vibe more often. And I think, seeing businesses talk to each other and posts and things like that, that brings a more real life aspect to it. And I just think people love to support small nowadays, which is great. Or local, I should say. Not necessarily small, but local.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would agree that I think people get nervous about the negative comments, but the positivity in those comments is actually contagious, and it actually makes you expand and see what's everyone else saying about this outfit at Real Deals, or this home decor, and it's like, she loved that, I love that. So okay, we'll switch with Facebook being the top social media platform in the world. What effect has Facebook specifically been on your industry, and how has that shifted your presence on the platform? Are you spending most of your time on Facebook? We touched on it lightly. Or what are your competitors in your industry doing on Facebook specifically, would you say?
There's a buzzword we have right now, personalization. So I think that has been a huge shift in just social media, probably Facebook specifically, but being able to, personalize your content, or tagging people, personalize back to them. I think that's a huge shift in the industry, and really being able to kind of create your ads based on a certain audience, and being able to deliver that to them. So just for us personally, that's been a big buzzword for us, and just how do we continue to personalize things? We talk a lot about, being able to take the friction out of things, so making it easy for our customers or our consumers to shop now or learn more or sign up for whatever it may be. But I think that's really just been the shift for us in delivering really specific content marketing to a really specific group of people.
Absolutely. Facebook Lives have been so big for us since our beginning 5 years ago. And it's that opportunity, as Taylor said, to be able to put a face to it. We're able to really personalize the experience. We can see the viewers that are hopping on and be able to call him or her by name. I feel like everybody loves to hear the sound of their own name or see it in writing even. And so, it's that little touch point to, even if we're not seeing them physically in our store, it's that one-on-one kind of experience. And so we've seen so many small businesses utilizing Facebook Live, which I love to see, because I feel like it's really an edge that we have over some of the big box stores. You don't see Target going live. I don't know. Maybe they are, but it just feels like it's a way that we can provide that little level of personal experience. And then Facebook has really, and Instagram as well, have really upped the ante with being able to have products for sale directly through those platforms, and just making it so easy for the end consumer to not have to leave the platform that they're on, and they can just simply tap on an image to be able to shop. And so that evolution has been really cool and also overwhelming at the same time, because it's a lot to take on. In addition to the brick and mortar, having that online presence is like such another beast, if you will. But so thankful for the tools through both Facebook and Instagram to be able to provide that offering to our customer. But I definitely think that Facebook Live in a variety of formats has been so impactful, and we've even used it kind of back to that authenticity piece. I remember at the beginning of COVID, none of us knew what we were doing. I feel like we were all floundering, and part of what you get when you shop at Real Deals, we really wear our faith on our sleeve too, and we did something pretty unconventional. Like, I just led followers in prayer, and pretty soon a couple hundred people are hopping on for this Facebook Live, and it's getting shared and things, and it is just like that, breaking it down back to, like, it's not necessarily just a business page or just a personal page. It's like, this is all one big life, and we're all the same people too. And so I think being able to put your true self forward on those social media platforms is something that people really respond to. And especially when you can meet them where they're at. Like, we're all in a similar stage where we don't know what's going on with COVID, or it's a snow day and we're all cooped up with our kids or our dog or whatever. And so just being able to be relatable through Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I would agree on that front of Facebook is our one of most followed social media platforms. So there's a lot of people there, and they want to see stuff from you pretty consistently. So I think that something that we've, asked of our agents, and they all do really great at, is not just let's post a ton on our business page, but let's go be personal on our personal pages. Be organic, make conversation with people, comment back to things that you find interesting, message the people. I think Facebook is such a great tool, and some social media folks would maybe say that it's dying, which you could say that, but I think that everyone has a Facebook, and if they don't, then that's really interesting, good for them. But I think that Facebook is just a really great tool to also get out knowledge pieces, knowledge information. There can be a lot of ads and spam on social media, especially Facebook. And I think something that we really try to do is just get organic knowledge content out there for people to read something other than buy this dog food or other things like that, you know?
Exactly.
Now, when you said agents, Kara can probably speak to this actually, but I think another huge, I know, you can chime in. I think another huge shift we have 18 locations and many, many employees, but I think just a shift in employee advocacy and our employees participating. We're to the point where they are sending us like, hey, here's what we did in Ankeny today, or here's, the homebuyer seminar we attended. So we are to the point where our employees are feeding us, the personalized content that we're able to share with our followers. And yeah, I think just our employees showing their engagement and, they're proud of where they work and showing what they do to support our communities as well.
Yeah. And that kind of leads us into the next question. And Taylor, I'll start with you on this. I think probably the difference maker on businesses that are successful on social media is their content creation. And I think there's two sides of it, the planning, but then also the creativity. So if all of you could kind of expand on how do you organize that? Is it a huge planning process once a week, once a month? Is it out of the blue, you just get on Facebook Live? And then creativity, what are you doing that's new that you see your competitors maybe aren't doing, and how do you brainstorm those ideas to build engagement on your platform?
Something that I do when it comes to content creation is we have our core pieces that we'll post that'll be a weekly thing, sale pendings, new listings, just things that are kind of the not as fun and playful pieces. And then I think that I probably spend way too much time on social media scrolling and looking at other businesses outside of real estate. I think I get a lot of ideas from looking at whether it's like an MBA team that I'm a fan of, or just other businesses that are really successful on social media, and then trying to twist that how I can bring it back into real estate. Something that we like to do a lot on our social media is have our agents in a lot of videos. Like Lindsay mentioned before, bringing a personalization piece that when, Lindsay's on a live talking, it's similar in a reel. You know who our agents are, you know what they sound like, you know what they look like, so that when we are posting and sharing things they're doing that might not be real estate related, it could be more community based, that we're not just sharing a random person, it is somebody that's on our team and somebody that is doing something out in the community. So I think content creation can be really draining and really hard, but not getting burnt out and making sure something for me is I just have to sometimes be off my phone for hours, because I'm like, if I don't stop scrolling, I will never stop. And then anything after that is just gonna be mush and the content's not gonna be good, and then I'm not gonna create it the way I want to. So yes, I can definitely tell that content creation is a hard piece of it. And I don't schedule everything out. I know a lot of social media managers will put things on like Meta and schedule it out. Sometimes I'll do that, but I've found that organic reach on scheduled posts isn't as good as I'd like to see it. So maybe I'm creating more work for myself by posting it in the second that I want it out, but it's all for the greater good of organic reach, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I am still floored that you're finding inspiration from the NBA. I don't know that it's ever crossed my mind but that's amazing. My husband would love that if I was there. But so many of the same thought processes as Taylor go into like our overall content calendar, if you will. We kind of have some fixed pieces that we like to highlight, but within that, the content is organic. So for example, we do like a Friday Fits try-on video, and the items that are featured in there are always different, and who knows what's going to come out of our mouths in any given moment, but it's something that our followers can look to from a consistency standpoint, and they appreciate that or look for that. So we do, and it helps take the guesswork out of it a little bit for us in knowing that okay, we're gonna do, a before and after on a Monday. And I like to just come up with, some of those general kind of concepts of a before or after in building a display, or a meet the team Monday. We kind of come up with different concepts throughout the year to be able to know that we can consistently do this even for 6 weeks or something. And also from an overall brand awareness standpoint, we do utilize our team members and all of our photos and videos as well. Not only from like a consistency standpoint, we want people to be able to kind of just be scrolling through and recognize that that's Ashley from our team. But also then when they're able to, see our team out and about or they come into our store, they can recognize that, oh, you were wearing this sweater. How did it fit? And so then our customers are able to relate to the team, and we always use them by name and on social media as well to just help create that overall brand and team awareness.
Yeah, I mean, you said one of my favorite words. I mean, consistency, right? I think being consistent, we all know content is king, right? It's the cornerstone of social media. I think having a plan for content is super important, whether, ours is very simple. It's an Excel spreadsheet that we all can have access to. We can go put our thoughts down. Here's what's coming up for the month, or here's what we need to focus on. Taylor mentioned Meta. There's lots of tools out in the world. So Meta is, Facebook's kind of business manager. We utilize Canva to create content and visual graphics for our content. Hootsuite is a fantastic tool to help plan and schedule your posts. So there's many key factors that come into play when creating content. But I think just having a plan and being consistent. Lindsay mentioned brand, so I think content should always match your brand standards, and always bringing it back around to your organization, and having a purpose or a reason behind what you're posting. But yeah, content is king. So
I love Canva too, in the ability to manage some of your brand standards, your consistent font and color scheme, again, to be able to just have that consistency, as we keep talking about, for our consumers. And I think it ultimately makes it easier on us. Absolutely. Too. Like, it takes the guesswork out of trying to find coordinating fonts when we just have kind of like a portfolio that we're going to pick from, that headings are this and subtext is this kind of font, and just where we can play around with the photography or whatever that we want to add in there. I think graphics are huge, but it can also be so overwhelming when there's 100,000 templates available to use. And I will see businesses, and it is great that they're posting, but it's like just different Canva fonts or different Canva templates all the time, without bringing it back to their core branding, their values even. It's maybe not represented like a really playful brand, but it's all black branding or something. It just doesn't feel like it jives as well. So I think if organizations haven't gone through an exercise where they really identify what are our core values and how can we be reflective of that in our branding and our overall social media presence, that I think that's a really important place to start.
And I think to expand on that even more when it comes to the content creation, I think having the colors and the fonts and everything already set up, it helps you to not have to be extremely creative on that front.
Yeah.
You can just create it and post it, and then that's there, and then you have a template for later.
Right.
So that when the fun out on a whim videos come, or trending videos that you want to create, you can really let creativity flourish there to help yourself not get burnt out. And to echo what you said earlier about knowing the gals that work in Real Deals and stuff, I feel like anytime I go in there, if I buy something, I always ask, like, is this gonna look weird on me? I'm always asking, and they probably have no idea. Well, I'm in there a lot, so maybe they do know who I am, and they always give me feedback, and I love it because I'm very indecisive when it comes to clothes. So.
Yeah, well, it is so helpful to be able to put a face to a social media account.
Right.
And I think we're all from different industries, between retail and services, but it's just so funny how so much of it rings true regardless of the industry that you're in. Like, you want to be putting your face or your team's face out there, and you ultimately want your end consumer to feel like they relate to that person.
I think there's this theory too that content always has to be like super new and super exciting, but we repurpose content a lot. I think it's just about, we'll change up the message, and it's about having the right message to the right audience. But, gosh, what's that saying? It takes 7 or 8 times seeing something before you take action. So when I see Lindsay's ad for the 7th time, I'm probably going to buy it. But just again, being out there. But yeah, don't be afraid to repurpose content as well. We utilize that a lot, and we've all seen it probably millions of times. But I guarantee there's a new follower, a new customer, someone who's just seeing it for the first time on your news feeds.
Sometimes we do to piggyback off of that is we tell them what we're going to tell them, and then tell them what we told them, right? So it's like really teeing up this cool announcement, and then there's the announcement, and then there's the in case you missed it post, and then but really in case you missed it, and so I think that there's plenty of that too, and as we're talking about building out a content calendar, and there can be one general idea that you can have several different pieces of content, and people respond to different formats of content. Some are static photos, some are in Reels format, and so I think being able to have a similar message or a concept or a product and it's featured in a variety of different ways is automatically going to attract to a different audience.
Right.
So back to not reinventing the wheel. It's okay, we don't need to come up with some new concept or service or something each and every day. We can simply go back to some of the things, and everybody is just inundated with so much noise on social media. As much as I would love to think our message really cuts through all of that and people stop in their tracks as they're scrolling. I know that that's not the case. And so if we're using the same music to a video or something we used to get really caught up in, we can't reuse that.
Right.
And it's realistically, nobody notices or cares.
Yeah, and I think the posting to the 7 times and then someone actually does buy it, I think that's just building the trust. And once you have that trust there, that one follower, now they trust you, and now they're going to hang out for a while, and then there's going to be somebody else. So I think the building trust piece is really huge when it comes to any form of social media, because no one's going to follow somebody that they don't trust or they don't believe or they don't, that's how you get people to stay around. So.
Yeah, those answers were fantastic. I was going to ask, there's all kinds of pressure to always be new and the most innovative and the flashiest on social media and in real life and personal and in business. And I loved your guys' answers that really it comes down to consistency and just building trust. You don't always have to be the newest. One question that was not pre-planned, but do you believe there's a magic number of posts in a day, in a week, that really, if you were to fall off that track, you think your engagement would suffer? Some articles I've read say, you have to post 3 times a day to be able to get any kind of engagement. Do you find that true, or is it just once you build your consistency, you stay on with that?
I think that it depends on the platform, right? Because if you're going to go on Instagram and you're going to post 5 posts in one day, that might get a little bit stuffy. But as for like stories, I don't feel like there can be, obviously to an extent, if you post 100 stories in a day, someone might say something, but if they do, then combat that how you will. But I think we don't do a ton of stuff on TikTok, but I think that TikTok is an app where you have to be very consistent and you have to post a lot if you're looking for that consistent growth and things like that. But I think that something that we try to stray away from is getting too spammy or getting too much in your face. We want to be in your face and hanging out, but as a friend and not as in a nagging someone, So I guess I really haven't dove that too deep into it. I think there could be a magic number, but I just think being organic is always key, I think.
Yeah, I think Taylor said it. I think it's just about your business practices and your policies and finding what works for you, and kind of staying above the noise and finding that sweet spot between being able to meet the number of posts that you want and making sure that they're relevant and meeting your business objectives.
I agree with both of those comments, and also we post when we feel as though we have value to provide, or something that is going to be either helpful or humorous or something to our end consumer. And if I don't feel as though we have that, then I'm not going to post just for the sake of meeting some quota. For us, it's quality over quantity, and we would rather have fewer posts and see higher engagement with those. We know that just a graphic doesn't necessarily perform as well for us as it does when we see someone's face. And I think that our customers really respond to that. So I think that there are things that we could be doing all day to hit 3 posts a day or something to that effect. But we've just really discovered those posts that our customers are able to react to and find value in. And so we want to be serving up that content. And so we'll do so as long as we feel like the photography is up to caliber, or the video, or whatever that format looks like. So a long story longer, we find that usually we're a couple posts a day, and we look at our analytics to see when are our followers online, what is those highest volume times where we can get the most bang for our buck, if you will, to capture that audience.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and I would just like to add a little piece on that. And I think that everyone at Ankeny Real Estate Group that talks to me knows that I am very obsessed with the aesthetically appealing look on Instagram for sure. And if something, like you said, is not up to par photography wise, I more than likely won't post it, just because I think that what you said about value, I'm not just gonna speak to speak and hear myself talk. I want to post and be, intentional with it, and I want it to be quality, and I want it to be pretty, and for lack of other words, like I said, just pretty.
Yeah, absolutely.